The most important issue confronting our nation today is the jobs crisis, something my constituents and I know all too well, as my home state of Rhode Island continues to be plagued with the highest unemployment rate in the nation, currently 9%. And while most members would agree that the best way we can address this jobs crisis is to pass legislation that gets our economy growing more quickly, we clearly have different ideas on how best to achieve such growth. But we will have that important conversation in great detail next week, as the House is scheduled to consider the Republican budget authored by Chairman Ryan and the substantive alternatives on the floor. Today, however, we have before the House a bill that modifies the budget process. Specifically, this bill changes the rules that our independent umpire, the Congressional Budget Office, uses to determine the costs of implementing major pieces of legislation, defined as those impacting gross domestic product by more than approximately $40 billion. And while your new rules would supplement, not replace, existing scoring rules, let's be clear, the macroeconomic impact analysis, or dynamic scoring, that is called for under the bill is something my colleagues and I on this side of the aisle view with great apprehension as serious concern, as it relies upon much more uncertain and subjective analytical principles, procedures, and assumptions than what the Congressional Budget Office currently utilizes for scoring the costs of legislation. So while my colleagues across the aisle pursue what they believe is an ideal set of scoring rules, I rise today with a proposal to give a more targeted and specific picture of the impact pending legislation will have on jobs in our communities. The amendment I offer does not change your desired dynamic scoring analysis. It merely requires production of a separate estimate using CBO's existing analytical principles and procedures of the number of jobs that would be created, sustained, or lost, including regional and state level estimates when practicable, for the same proposals my colleagues wish to score using their preferred set of rules. And keep in mind, this is not a partisan proposal. This amendment is derived from legislation, the Jobs Score Act, which I introduced along with Senator Manchin, and has received balanced bipartisan support in both chambers. So I urge my colleagues to support my amendment and help ensure that members of Congress are fully prepared to conduct their due diligence and have the most complete understanding possible of how the major bills considered in Congress impact jobs in our communities. I reserve the balance of my time.